Three, two, one, ghost. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 3, 2, 1, Ghost. As always, I'm your host with a silent G, Kyle. Also, as always, joined by my pal Natalie. Hey, Natalie, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to our episode on David Cronenberg's 1983 um, sci-fi horror film. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Videodrome.
Mhm.
Um, Industry legend David Cronenberg, right? Easy
Oh,
to say.
yeah.
Yeah,
100%. He
easy.
gets industry legend.
Yeah, like Cronenberg, the name is just synonymous with guts and pus and boils and things ripping open and looking
Hmm.
disgusting and awful. Um,
Body horror.
obviously, that remake of The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, Scanners, I
Hmm.
and so many more, of course, but I hadn't seen this one before. Have you? Or
Me
had you?
either. Yeah, and I feel like I've actually seen most of his more well-known movies, but this one I hadn't. And it's just
Yeah.
always been on my list. Like it's one of those that I'm like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. And now I finally got to it.
This movie, also written by David Cronenberg, um, starring James Woods. I feel like James Woods, it's like he's like the movie version of Kurt Schilling, where like, hey, I get it, you're great, you've done great things, but your MAGA dipshit politics make you just fucking insufferable.
He's I didn't know that.
Oh, he's very famously like a deep
Oh no.
right winger. Yeah, oh Jesus.
That's a
So
bummer. Damn, I wish you wouldn't have told me that. I would have happily have gone through this.
Oh, sorry. So, I feel like, just like how the Baseball Writers Association of America is really doing their part by keeping Kurt Schilling out of the Hall of Fame forever, I feel like I'm equally doing my part keeping James Woods out of the 3, 2, 1 Ghost Industry Legend Awards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess you know what? You're right.
And you know who I'm going to
Damn.
give 2 Industry Legend Awards to?
Wait, we can do double?
I mean, he's got one on the table that he's not allowed to have.
Okay.
So Debbie Harry gets 2.
Oh yeah, she deserves two for sure.
She's
She's
awesome in this.
she's so awesome all around.
Um, you've got Sonia Smits, you've got Peter Dvorsky, Les Carlson, Jack Creeley, Lynn Gorman. Um, I think everyone's great in this movie. Especially I like James Woods a lot in this movie. Sucks.
I know, I do too. I feel like he made a lot of interesting creative choices, just the way that he speaks as this character is kind of off-putting, but I like it.
Yeah, I think James Woods is good in this. I think that he does a good job balancing that character as someone who, like, sure, you look at him one way, he likes to procure snuff films. You know what I mean?
He's kind of sleazy.
He's sleazy, but like
He doesn't
also
know that they're snuff films though. Like I feel like he's very naive. Like he keeps mentioning actors and saying that it's not real.
right. Where he's just like, dang, where did they get actors to do this? This is so
Yeah, and
real.
you're like, don't be so naive, bro.
Yeah. Um, but like he also, I don't know, is a little sympathetic, and you kind of want to root for him a little bit, at least when he's,
Hmm.
essentially, you know, your de facto hero of this story, right?
Hmm.
Um, but frankly, I think everybody's good in this. Like
Yeah.
even like in their bit parts, like the woman who plays Masha.
Masha. I like her.
Yeah, is that Sonia Smits? Because she's really fun.
No, that's she plays Bianca Oblivion, which also I really like
Oh,
that last name. Uh Lynn
yeah, me too.
Gorman is Masha.
Yeah, she's really fun. And the guy who plays Harlan, I liked him a lot.
Me too. I like his character.
a number of people got nominated for this movie. It got a bunch of nominations for the Genie Awards. Are you familiar with the Genie Awards?
No. What is that?
Okay. Well, it ran from 1980 to 2012, and it was essentially the Canadian version of the Oscars.
Oh.
This movie is a Canadian movie, right?
Yeah.
And it won it only won one award, one Genie Award. And that was for Best Direction, though, for David
Oh,
Cronenberg. But
okay.
it was a tie, though. He
Oh.
shared it, yeah, he shared it with the dude who directed A Christmas Story.
Oh. Very different um very different directions.
I know. I think they were just like, okay, we're gonna give it to Cronenberg, but it's pretty fucked up, so we want to make sure the kids are happy too. So
That's weird.
it's I don't know, Bob Clark. I was like, why does that name escape me? The dude who directed Christmas Story, because he also directed Baby Geniuses.
Oh,
There you go, which I've never seen, but I learned
I
that
forgot
today.
that movie existed.
Ugh,
And
well,
I don't think I've ever seen it.
now unfortunately you remember. Um, in this movie, I going into it, okay, I was a little worried, thinking like how applicable is like the message of this movie going to
Mhm.
be, especially when, like reading through. I spoiled myself. I read through some of the plot line before jumping into the movie.
I don't
And
know why
like,
you would do that.
yeah, and they're talking like, UHF and cassettes and,
Hmm.
satellites and shit. And like, I mean, we still have satellites, right? But like, eh, eh, people just don't consume media that way anymore. Like, people don't, like, I mean, 1983, like, we're even VHS, like home video releases,
Hmm.
like that common of a thing. I don't think this was released on home video until like later at the end of the decade.
Well, while those forms of technology aren't being used to consume media, we consume media now more than ever. So the theme of the movie, I think, still stands. It's just a cassette and his like stomach VCR like feels feels like it could be something else now. But I think the whole thought process of people like only being depicted through a television screen is pretty relevant now because I mean, if you think about like influencers and people like that, like they're kind of at home all the time just creating content and putting themselves into millions of other people's homes through a screen. So it's
100%.
it's kind of similar in that way, but yeah, the technology feels very outdated. But I think that the theme of media consumption and it letting it, control you is pretty strong now.
Well, and then there's that central debate in the movie, is violent and pornographic media. Does this exist to satiate a need that people have? Like just like he even says in the movie, like some like a healthy
Hmm.
right for these dark desires that everyone has allegedly. Or, you know, if you ask like Tipper Gore or whoever, who's mad at Mortal Kombat in the 90s, it's like, or does the violent media breed and influence more violence, or does that translate to real life? Like I think of
Hmm.
like gosh, like us growing up in the 90s, I brought up like Mortal Kombat, of course,
Hmm.
Columbine, right, was right at the end of the 90s, and that was wild, to the
Hmm.
and all the discussions on, well, it's got to be Marilyn Manson's fault, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or oh, it's got to be Doom's fault, right?
Hmm.
And I, I don't, I don't, I mean, I don't know. I don't think. What's weird? It's like, okay, like, does violence in media make someone a violent person? No, not necessarily. I think that there's a lot of other things that need to
Be addressed.
tr yeah, that need to kind of trigger that. But at the
Hmm.
same time, I think if somebody was exposed only to violence, and that was everything they knew,
Hmm.
and didn't have like the support systems to help them like grow and separate fiction from reality, right? Then
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, like the dude who killed John Lennon said he did it because of that fucking book with the kid in the red hat. What the fuck's the name of that book?
I have no idea.
Everyone's a loser, so fuck them all. I don't know. But so that's where I'm like, people come up with all sorts of crazy fucking reasons to do crazy shit, you
Hmm.
know? And I
And
think
place
it's easy,
blame, I think also will place blame in places that aren't actually to blame to maybe not take accountability.
right? Catcher in the Rye, by the way. But um sometimes I think I wonder if it's funnier. People are just like, he's dumb. It's like if I just go, the one with the guy with the hat, everyone's a loser, you know. I I remember high school a little bit, but so long story short, too late. But I still think it has a lot to say, and I do think
Hmm.
that the message still resonates, even if I don't know, like even when it feels a little bit more like on the nose, like watching this movie, like I still don't mind it, you know. And then also just the body horror is so good, so I'm just in for the ride. I enjoy
You,
it.
you know what it
Holds up
kind
really
of,
well.
reminds me of? Because obviously, I would assume David Cronenberg does not think that violent media makes people violent, being a lover of horror and a director of horror. Um, but it kind of reminds me of the Rocky Horror Picture Show when we were talking about that and how on the nose, like the fear of like transgender people and or just even like the queer community is for that movie. Like they take everything very literally and
Right.
make it happen. And I think this movie does the same thing in a different way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Um, and very misplaced and ignorant fear and aggression towards queer and trans people is just like Videodrome's issues. They're not stuck to 1983,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. Same with Rocky Horror, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am ready to hop into this movie, though. How about you?
Oof, me too. Let's
Cool.
do it.
So we meet Max, who's played by James Woods. Max is the president of Civic TV on Channel 83.
Mm.
Um, basically just a purveyor of smut, you know,
Yeah.
or
I'm
like,
like, how is this channel approved by just like basic cable?
yeah, like when they say like you have everything from softcore pornography to hardcore violence, I'm like, can
Yeah.
you share that?
On
Because like
TV?
just on regular ass TV, Channel
Yeah.
83, where was I looking? Um,
Or is it like only at certain hours? Like they don't broadcast during the day and maybe they like start their broadcast at like midnight through the wee hours of the
mhm.
morning?
I didn't understand this until later on in the movie, but he gets personalized like cassettes from his assistant, Bridie. Um,
Yeah. Which is a lot of work for her.
and so she has to do that like every at least every weekday.
Yeah, I was like, does she hand deliver each video to him every night? That really bothered me. Her work-life balance could not be good.
Right. And for a real you know, grungy, up and coming, real small outfit, like they've got they've got a lot of office space, they got a lot of employees.
Yeah. Well, I
So,
figure they must have some sort of funding happening, but when I when they first like introduced him, he's like watching porn like while he's eating breakfast. And I was
yeah.
like, what is his life? Is that just like is that what people do? But then
Well, and
realized,
he's got his executive assistant, but then like also, yeah, like you can tell like lives in like, a studio apartment on a pull-out couch. I don't know if it's studio, but um he's eating like old pizza scraps, just
hmm,
living a very
like
disheveled life at home.
yeah, disheveled like bachelor life.
Right. And like I said, he is always on the lookout for new content to put on this channel. So he's constantly getting, well, not constantly, but he's meeting with people to get, you know, that are pitching their shows that they want aired on this broadcast, whatever. Um, and then so he's looking through the stills of like one show that's getting pitched to him, and they're just like stills of like a sex scene from whatever this show is,
Hmm.
and he's like, I like this. Let's meet with
Yeah.
these people. So he goes and meets with these guys, um, these salesmen that are trying to pitch this 13 episode show,
Mhm.
or maybe more than that. I'm not sure. Not much more than that. I like
Yeah.
the suitcase with the VHS tapes in it.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But they felt real cool walking around with that. I bet I would. It just you'd open it up. What would you give me real quick three movies you'd put in your VHS suitcase?
Scream.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Probably something old Disney just for the nostalgia of it. Let's say Aladdin.
Sorry,
Uh-huh.
they come in those giant ass weird VHS boxes. That's
Oh,
not
because of the plastic boxes?
yeah, it's
It
not gonna
has to be
fit, Natalie.
paper?
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
fine. Then Scream, Child's Play 2.
Love that.
So I'm gonna pick two horror movies. I'm gonna try to pick something that's non-horror.
Okay.
To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar.
I just thought immediately what goes to my head, Scream would be one. I Know What You Did Last Summer would be another.
Of course.
I'm gonna go Clueless for my third.
Ooh, oh, that's a good one. Okay.
Yeah. We'll come over to each other's we you
Open our
know,
video case or VHS suitcase.
yeah. So they've got this whole saga called something Samurai, I forget.
Yeah.
Um and James Woods is like, "Okay, cool. I'll buy it. Let's do it." Um put on episode 13. I want to see
Yeah.
what's going on there. And they're like, 13? You can't watch 13. You got to watch the other 12 for context. And he's like, I have no intention of airing any of it except for this like long sex scene that's like kind of like a is it like a voodoo doll type of situation? You see someone
I
taking the clothes off a doll, and then the woman is then taking off her clothes. So I wasn't sure.
I was not sure what was going on at all. I couldn't get past the fact that I had never thought about just the production of porn or like pitching or showing, your pornographic film and trying to like sell it to someone. I'm like, this is just like three guys that pretty much have never met,
Yeah.
just watching porn in a room together. And I couldn't get past that. I was like, this is
Well,
so interesting.
my understanding though is that it wasn't porn exactly. It was like a 13, 15 episode thing that just happened to have a sex scene in it.
Oh,
And
he
he's like,
just wanted that part.
yeah. And he's like, this is the only part I'm
Okay.
gonna air.
I see.
And so they're
That would
like,
be
well, what do you...
frustrating for them.
Yeah. But I'd be like, maybe money's money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he shows it off to his um his business partners essentially. What are their names again? Rafe and
Moses?
Moses. Um, but even then he's showing them this and being like, this isn't dirty enough. This
No,
isn't
it's
violent
not dark
enough.
enough.
This shit's soft.
Hmm.
I mean, we're gonna keep watching it together. How many times does he watch this? How many different groups of men does he go and just like watch this video
I don't
with?
know.
Mm. So he goes downstairs to I don't know, the
The
lab,
video cave.
yeah, the video dungeon,
Yeah.
with all these different types of computers and machines and see it such,
Hmm.
all making beeps and whirly sounds and such. You meet Harlan, who is essentially their satellite hacker. So I guess
Yeah.
whatever they don't purchase themselves to put on the air, they will hack other satellites and try to air that shit.
No, they don't do
No?
that. He will find whatever smut he can find, like through this satellite, and then they try to find that person
Got
to
it.
then
Okay.
air it. So that's why when he discovered Videodrome, he was like, where is this coming from? How do we find it? Because he wanted to use it. But like, seems like his means of acquiring whatever film he's looking for, he does the proper way.
Is that proper though? I don't think that's the proper way to do it.
Oh no, that part's not proper. When he approaches them, I think he does it
Oh
the proper
yeah,
way.
yeah,
They don't
yeah.
have to know how he like found
Got
what they have. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah.
Um, but this one's a little different. This new feed that's been coming in.
Hmm.
Um, he says due to the delay, that's how you can tell the distance, which yeah, makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah. Um, with the speed of light and visual whatever's. So he's like, this is a 53-second delay. It's got to be from Malaysia. Which I'm like, hold
Yeah.
on, 53 seconds in which direction?
Yeah, exactly. It could be like it should be like the circumference of it, right?
Maybe. And then even then he's just like, oh yeah, no, never mind, it's Pittsburgh.
Hmm.
But yeah, but well, Harlan knows a little bit more than he leads on anyway. But he said that this feed, not he says that he knows that they're seeing it because he is unscrambling and they're scrambling that unscrambling. So it's almost
Hmm.
like they see him kind of peeking in, trying to hack into their satellite. So they keep changing the code, making it hard for him to get in. But
Hmm.
Harlan's
And
a smart cookie.
it's like two guys in like hazmat suits, it almost looks
Yeah, like beating this woman.
like
It's
beating a naked woman. Yeah, like I was just wondering,
yeah.
I was like, why are they wearing these outfits? It's interesting.
Harlan's like, so you want me to let me keep tracking this one or what? And Max is like, I like it. Keep me posted.
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep me posted. I'm gonna go on this talk show real quick. Don't even worry about it. So he goes on this talk show, which may have been in the same building, maybe have been the different studio in the same building or down the street. Who knows? Um, I'm impressed. I mean, I know it's Toronto, but I'm impressed how quickly he gets around.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
big city. Yeah.
And it seems like he's walking everywhere.
Ah, 100%.
Most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. Outside of that one time he was like given a ride
Hmm.
and he was watching the thing from what's his face. Um, so he goes on this talk show. You also meet Nikki Brand, who
Hmm.
is she kind of like a sexy Frasier situation? She's like a radio emotional support type.
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
like a radio talk
Kelsey
show
Grammer is a
host.
sexy Frasier.
Yeah.
So
There you
my
go.
apologies, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but it seemed like she was like helping people with like really serious problems, like not just like dating advice and things like that. Like when they show that clip of her actually talking to someone, it feels very serious.
100%.
Yeah.
Uh, you also meet Brian Oblivion, which is a pretty cool name.
It really is.
And then I put Brian Oblivion once, and it's just B.O.B. in my notes, so I just might refer to him as that from here on out.
Okay.
Even
That
though
works for me.
there are two B.O.B.s.
Yeah.
But the host, kind of like the whole kind of moral predicament of the story. The host asks Max, like, don't you think what you're doing is like giving people like more ammunition, more
Hmm.
violence that begets more violence. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And of course he's like, hey, look, I'm just trying to it's pure business for me. I am just serving a need in
Hmm.
a gap that has not been, mined, right? Um, I'll offer what nobody else is offering. And it seems so quaint now, like when you just think of like Jesus, all the just depraved shit you can see on the internet now, like
Oh
with
yeah.
with such ease. With
So easy. You could
not that I
literally
know,
type no, but you could literally type anything really and find what you're looking for, probably extremely specifically so.
um, he says it, but he says this is harmless. It's fine. Like no one's hurting. Like this is a safe space for people. Like I said, it's a safe outlet for people to get all their weird, freaky shit out.
Hmm.
And here I am, Civic TV. Um, Nikki's like, it is.
Yeah.
It is an issue, but like, and again, it's so interesting, like a movie from 42 years ago that says
Hmm.
like, we crave stimulation, to which Max is
Hmm.
like, what's up? You want to go out for dinner? So
Yeah.
he's not listening to anything, right?
No.
And but she's just saying how like, yeah, we crave stimulation constantly and we're always looking for ways to just like feed that shit. But then I'm like,
Hmm.
God, people thought that about themselves then. Like again, now,
I
holy
know.
shit. Like
I know.
which either makes me feel like, oh my God, this is like even darker and darker and more awful than it was then. They would have no idea how worse it could get. Or it's, you know, the
But
kids
do
will be
you,
all right kind of situation where like
well, do you wonder though?
we always think it's the end of humanity every
Of course,
generation.
but like if you think about it in terms of if you're in the 80s and you don't have access to high-speed internet and, being able to just look up whatever specific thing you're looking for, you might have
Mhm.
to actually find other means to find these things. So maybe it's finding sex workers that perform these acts. Maybe it's like going to like seedy clubs that like, are doing like things. So I think for some people, it works out that they can live out the fantasy on the computer and not have to actually pursue those things. So maybe it's kind of a wash, you know?
Well, and I think that not that I really feel like getting into this, it's not a debate, but like
Hmm.
getting into this part of the discussion with this, but like I don't know. It's like same thing with pornography now. Like there
Hmm.
it's a yes and where it can be argued that it's a safe outlet for people to get into whatever they need to get into. And like, Jesus
Hmm.
Christ, look up, you know, the highest searches on Pornhub and shit. And you're just like, oh
Yeah,
boy.
it's pretty gross. But just because you watch it doesn't mean you do it.
I don't have any studies in front of me. So of course, I can't prove this right now on this episode.
Take it with a
But
grain of salt.
but I do think that pornography, using this as an example, I think pornography skews what men should expect of sex.
Yeah, I think what women should expect too. I know it's more like aimed at men overall, but like just
True.
generally.
But, the idea of like, what do you mean you don't want to do all that, all of this sorts of stuff? I see women
Hmm.
doing this all the time online, right?
Hmm.
But not being able to separate out that, like, no, these are actresses,
Hmm.
whether, amateur, professional or not, right?
Hmm.
And I don't know. So it's whatever.
But
But that's where I'm just like,
it goes back to
yeah,
your argument of, I think it fits the same argument as violence when you fit in like sexual violence and things of that nature is it the thing that you were watching, or is it other things that are happening behind the scenes in your life? And this is just something that you're like witnessing, but it could have happened whether or not you saw it. The same way, like people would say horror movies will make people sick in the head and try to murder people. It's not that, it's the other thing. But, you can argue it both ways.
a wise man once said, don't blame the movies. Movies don't create the psychos. Movies just make the psychos more creative.
Yeah, there you go.
Which also, no, it doesn't, because then they're just, mocking something else, or mimicking
Mhm.
something else. So, whatever. So, while all this is happening, Nikki's saying her piece. Max is, of course, being like, I want to have sex with you right now
He's very aggressively hitting on her too. Like, because the first thing he says to her is
on
he makes a
television.
comment. Yeah, he makes a comment about her dress, like, and the color of it, and like craving stimulation or whatever it is. Because like the whole thing about like red dresses.
Sure.
They're basically both men and women have decided that a red dress is like she wants attention. Like she wants people to think that she is like hot, sexy. She wants eyes on her.
I think it works for
Um
bulls as well. Like bullfighters wave that red flag
Uh-huh.
too.
Yep. Yep, it does. But yeah, so I think that was what like was prompting him to say it that way. But like at first, like I was like, ew, like that's the grossest way to hit on someone. But then actually after he starts like spitting game at her, like I was like, okay, okay, Max. You're doing all right now.
I well, sure. I mean, it certainly worked for her. But while all of this is going on, you've got Brian Oblivion on the TV, who Brian Oblivion refuses to be anywhere in person. Brian Oblivion
Yes.
says, "You can wheel me out on a TV."
A TV on TV.
Yeah, so he can talk in real time to somebody with no studio equipment or anything on his end. Him just talking into a camera,
Yeah, I don't
saying
think
some.
that technology existed then. Am I wrong?
I think you're wrong.
Thanks.
So the but he's saying some cryptic shit. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, sure, man. Sure, whatever, TV man.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Um, so he goes back and sees Harlan and he's like, so, how's it going, man? Have you learned anything new? And he puts on some new footage and he watches. Um, he says, this is fucking perfect. This is wonderful. What have we learned? He's
Yeah.
like, I was a little wrong on Malaysia. I just something turned around. Don't even mind me.
Yeah, a little
I
mixed
was
up.
like, I was looking the other way. Turns out you turn around and it's in Pittsburgh is where this is coming from. So once I figured that out, and he's feeling himself. He's getting pretty confident in his skills,
Hmm.
even though I'm like, man, turns out, well, it was all just a fucking ruse anyway. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, I thought it was pretty funny. He's like Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. And then right before the scene cuts, fucking Arlen says again, Pittsburgh. I don't know why I thought that was really funny. But so Max goes to Nikki's radio show, like you were talking about. She's like
Hmm.
having this like, intense conversation with someone who's clearly in crisis.
Yeah.
Um, I forget about what though, something with her sister. I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah. I
So
think like actually like hating her sister, like a deep-seated hatred for her
yeah.
sister.
Um, Max brings her home, Nikki home back to his place,
Hmm.
and she starts looking through tapes. She's like, we're gonna have sex.
Immediately she's like, "You got porn or what?"
Yeah, because that gets me in the mood. So
Yeah.
what you got in here?
Yeah.
Um, so
Which if
but
he
she
didn't, wouldn't you be so surprised?
a little bit. You would think he would have to just given
Yeah.
like
His
yeah, and that's
work.
probably yeah, it's probably why she assumed as much as too.
Oh, for
So
sure.
she finds this Videodrome tape that he brought home with him, and she wants to put it on.
Hmm.
And he's like, no, 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 that's too fucked up shit. We're,
Hmm.
we're not watching that. And she's like, no, no, I like fucked up.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
put it on. This is where I was confused a little bit because I wasn't sure if she actually always was into fucked up violent shit or
Hmm.
if it's Videodrome that's causing this. Or maybe she's like into like watching some fucked up shit. And then when she starts watching Videodrome itself, then all of a sudden she's like, you want to cut me up?
Well, no, one, she already had those cuts on her shoulder, so she was already doing some pretty dark shit.
But do we
But
know, can we trust any of that at this point? Because it's a hallucination?
at the end, like skipping ahead, um, what's her name? The daughter of Brian Oblivion, she says that Nikki Brand was already dead, like before they had even actually, like she had been to that apartment. So I think all of
Oh,
that was hallucinations. I don't think he was ever actually with Nikki in his apartment.
It's really fucking me up right now, Natalie. I thought it was when she went to Pittsburgh on leave and she never was, on assignment or whatever.
Well, no, because
But
the assistant says Nikki had been gone for like a month already. Like she was taking a month off, implying that she was
yeah.
not ever there. So that's how I interpreted it. But there's a lot of like once we get past this scene, everything is all questions for me. What the fuck is going on in this plot? So I'll just make that clear. But I had thought the same thing. I was like, is everything with Nikki like not even real?
No, because other people see her and talk to her outside
No,
of.
after the television show, but from the time that he like brings her back to the apartment, I don't think any of that is actually happening. I think he's hallucinating watching Videodrome already because he had already been dosed with it, what,
Yeah,
like 3 times at that point?
yeah. Well,
Y'all can let us know what you
hallucination or
think.
yeah, hallucination or not, she's watching this and she's like, this is working for me, actually.
Yeah.
This is turning me on. Do you want to go
Hmm.
grab a knife and cut me up a little bit? And
Yeah.
he's like, what? No. Well,
Maybe.
maybe, I guess. Um, and then that sex scene where basically he's like just piercing her ears.
Yeah. It's
Ooh,
it's a lot.
that's a lot.
Um, I do like that you get to see like both of their like fully like naked bodies, but not fully. Like, like you get like them kind of spooning, which I thought was kind
Yeah.
of nice. Very tasteful for considering the subject matter.
Yeah.
Um, but I like the piercing of the ears thing. I thought that was pretty fun to show like, like she's into some dark like shit, and he's like, "All right, I'll play along." Um because yeah,
Or
there
his
are people who do that for sure.
or his hallucination of her is into that.
Yes, exactly.
You're right.
We don't know.
So he starts having hallucinations, which I guess is a hallucination on a hallucination, maybe, where they're all of a sudden like all in like a red bondage room,
Yeah.
BDSM room.
Yeah.
So the next day, this is when we meet Masha, who's showing
Hmm.
him her collection of like nudie Greek party videos.
Yeah, which
Uh,
looks super lame compared to what we just watched.
yeah, and he's like, "I'm sorry, Masha, you came in a week too late.
Yeah.
Maybe the old me would have been all about this. Now that I've seen like the real shit, sorry, this isn't gonna do it for me, you know."
Hmm.
Masha's like, "This is bullshit. Fuck you."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but let me help you though.
Yeah.
Right.
She's like his agent or his like talent procurement. Like I don't know what exactly her role is.
Yeah, I guess so. I think that is something to that extent because, she's like asking about Videodrome and she had never heard of it. And he's talking about it and she's like, Jesus Christ, it's pretty graphic. God help us
Hmm.
all, huh? But let me let me do some recon for you. You know,
Hmm.
how can I still be of service to you?
Hmm.
Um, that night, Nikki's like, "Hey, I'm going to go to Pittsburgh on assignment for work.
Hmm.
By the way, I want to be on Videodrome. I think it's perfect for me. What do you think?
Yeah.
Should I put me on that? What do you think?" Of course, Max is pissed. He's like, "No, that's awful. Like,
Yeah.
you're fucking crazy. Don't do it." He does get a little aggressive with her, like, so which
Hmm.
of course that's not working for her. One, because maybe she um doesn't want to take his shit, right? And sees it
Hmm.
as a challenge. And then two,
Hmm.
you know, I don't know. It feels like it's all turning her on at this point.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's a couple things here. Like he knows that it's a possibly dangerous situation. So
Yeah.
he's like, maybe don't do that. But he realizes that I mean, she's pretty strong-willed. She's going to do what she wants to do. She's not going to listen to him. So I think that's why he gets like extra aggressive because he's like, this is like a question of actual safety here. Like, he's a safe space for her to do their weird kinky shit. Like, whereas Videodrome may not be. So it could
Right.
be a control thing. It could be a safety thing. But yeah, definitely she's like responding to his aggression in a like very positive way.
Um, yeah, so she's like, I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And and I'm gonna put this cigarette out on my boob.
I did not like her burning that cigarette into her tit. Like it's when you pierce your ears with a safety pin, that hole will close if you don't want your ears pierced, or you can put a cute pair of earrings in there. But when you burn a cigarette into your titty, that's there. It's there forever.
I think if
So
you put out a cigarette anywhere on you, I think yeah, it's usually pretty
yeah.
permanent. Ugh.
It's
But that's
yeah.
why I was wondering, like, it's got to be a hallucination because she's like, I think if she were really into that, don't you think she'd have a little bit more like visible scars? Especially when she's just in her bra and underwear, you think you'd be able to see like a little bit more.
Well, that's two reasons. One, maybe things have escalated for her more recently.
Yeah.
Two, that also adds to my theory of her being kind of a hallucination because if she's been doing
Right.
stuff that's that heavy, she would have bodily damage. I mean, she did have the little cuts on her shoulder, but
Yeah.
you'd think that she'd have more scarring, bruising, whatever it might be.
So the next day, he meets with Masha. Like I said, he was doing some recon in Videodrome.
Mhm.
She's like, Max, this shit is fucked up and it's
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah. She's like,
Do
don't
not
fuck with it.
don't fuck with it. Do not fuck with these people. Those are not actors. That shit is real. People
Hmm.
getting tortured and shit is fucking real. Max doesn't believe it. He's just like, no,
I
it's.
would believe her. I'd be like, oh, you know what? They do seem pretty quality.
I mean, I guess like unless he's thinking like, there's still like no way. Come on, no one
Yeah.
just. How is this available on TV somewhere? But
Yeah.
still, he's like, I want a name though. Can you give me a name?
Hmm.
Maybe I'll even include your little Greek nudie party.
Hmm.
It's part of the
And I think
programming block.
doesn't he offer her like a shower or something?
You of course, right? Because he's a perv. So the first thing he does
Yeah.
is, and of course she's like, too old for me.
Yeah. I would take him up on the shower. And I love that she says that he's too old for her because he's probably like in his 30s,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's supposed to be 34, I think.
And then she sees that server who looks like he's like probably in his 20s.
Yeah, she's like,
What's up with you?
right. So, like I said, he still wants a name, and she says Brian Oblivion,
Hmm.
and he was like, I was just on a thing with that guy. I know that guy. Maybe I can track him down. So he goes to what's the name of this place? Cathode Ray Mission. Um,
Oh yeah.
and which is a soup kitchen and a shelter
Hmm.
for people who are unhoused, I
Hmm.
is my guess. But
Why so many TVs?
but it's weird where like the shelter has like not like cubicles set up, but like almost like kind of like yeah, like real
Cubicle
um
feels like the right word. It does look like a cubicle.
yeah. And each with TVs in them and everyone just watching TV in all of these.
Hmm.
So he isn't able to find Brian Oblivion here,
Hmm.
but is able to find his daughter, Bianca.
Hmm. Bianca, that's her name. Yeah.
Right, Bianca Oblivion. Um, who and he just keeps insisting, like, hey, I need to talk to your father. I need to talk to your father. He
Hmm.
follows her upstairs to her office. Um, and he is also asking a little bit about, like, so by the way, what the fuck's going on down there in the
Yeah.
shelter with all this TVs? And I don't exactly understand, and maybe I'm just understanding it incorrectly, but like she says that the idea is, I guess, showing them like benevolent, like positive, like programming or just regular normal ass TV, that it, I guess, like reintegrates them into society, or it's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
benefit them in some way, which is,
Yeah.
which I was, it was getting a little iffy on because I was like, hold on, like
I don't
if,
think there's any clear science behind that.
well, I was just thinking just what is this movie trying to say? Because you've got Videodrome, which I led to believe is on the other end of the spectrum, right? You show
Mm-hmm.
people just awful, depraved shit, and it just gives them tumors and makes them violent and
Mm-hmm.
upsetting, right? And then when you show people like, I guess, nice stuff, it's supposed to like integrate people into a functioning society, but then you're trying to say that like, I don't know. I don't know. It was trying to, I don't know what it was trying to say.
Maybe it's just that underlying theme of media influence.
I guess so. But the idea of like, again, I wasn't sure if like it was saying like Videodrome takes someone good and makes them in aggressive and awful and or
Mm-hmm.
tough, as Harlan wants to
Mm-hmm.
put it. Um, I don't know, trying to frame that like being homeless is like the negative that like can be
Yeah.
fixed with like TV. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I was it was a little flimsy for me, but again,
Yeah.
so Max is like, "Come on, let me talk to fucking Brian already." She's like, "Hey, here's what you'll do. You let me know what you want to say." And Brian only communicates via cassette tapes, or he said he could
Mm-hmm.
do like a, you know,
Like
like a
a,
picture disc or a
yeah.
8 track or something, I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to think of the media that'd be available. I guess film. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he only sends like pre-recorded responses to which, Max is like, well, that's not really good for a conversation, really, but
Yeah.
he doesn't really have much of a choice in the matter. Um, so he ends up leaving. So he's at home watching Videodrome again. So he's like
Mm-hmm.
been watching this and been exposed to this.
Yeah.
Um, you got Masha providing this kind of voiceover saying like specifically it's dangerous because it has a philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
and then she even said earlier that there's something political about this, but doesn't exactly
Mm-hmm.
say
And
what.
that part went right over my head. Like, what is the philosophy? How is it political? Those were all the things I was very confused about.
Well, I'll save it for the end because Harlan
Okay.
kind of explains it, kind of. Um, and then
Roughly.
he, but then he also has this case that he opens up and there's a gun inside.
Yeah.
Remember this gun,
It's important.
right? Um, Bridie knocks on the door because she's dropping off his nightly cassette, for the
Yeah.
morning. So he's like trying to hide the gun and everything.
Hmm.
Um, Meanwhile, Bridie also confirms Nikki's not on assignment with her job. She's been gone for a
Hmm.
month though.
Hmm.
So blah 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 blah. She also looks at the Videodrome tape, asking what it is, and then this is like a weird like double hallucination
I
where
love this
Max, why? Max
because it's
hallucinates
fun.
slapping both Nikki across the face and
Hmm.
then also Bridie across the face,
Yeah.
but
So
doesn't hurt either of them, which
yeah,
is nice.
so what I thought had happened was that he slapped her and then was imagining that it was Nikki. But then you realize that the entire thing is just a hallucination. So that's what I thought was fun about it. Not that he's slapping the woman, that it plays a trick on you like twice.
Yeah. So he's clearly not well right now.
No, no.
She's like, "Are you okay? Do you need me to stay with you?"
Yeah.
And he's
Which
like,
is
"Nah,
way above and beyond the Call of Duty.
100%." And he's faking it though. He's like, just, yeah, you're good, you're good, you're good. Just get out now. Don't even worry
Hmm.
about it. But on her way out, she says, by the way, you got a boy, B.O.B. He delivered you a tape, said he wanted me to
Mhm.
deliver it to you myself, so here you go. Um, and then he goes on and puts on this tape. So you got Oblivion claiming that his same nonsense, video is reality, the screen is just become like an extension of like our eyes and how we
Mhm.
experience things. Then after so much exposure, you know, that fiction becomes reality essentially, right?
Mhm.
Um, he also starts directly talking to Max.
Yeah.
Um, then revealing that Videodrome is bad,
Mhm.
right? And that he was the first victim of Videodrome. And then he
Mhm.
has these tumors in his brain that cause these hallucinations. Um, the tumors are growing the more he's exposed to it. Um, and as he's explaining all of this, or he doesn't get much else out because then he is strangled by a masked figure on screen,
Mhm.
who then reveals herself to be Nikki, which we know is not.
Yeah.
Right.
So my question here then, because we know as an audience now, having watched this movie, that Brian Oblivion is dead already. But I don't think he doesn't reveal that he's dead in that video, correct? Because the daughter reveals that later.
Correct.
Okay. So is this a situation where they murdered Brian Oblivion or he died from his exposure to Videodrome, and now he can still actively communicate through the TV and through VHS cassettes?
Well, it's one of two things. It's either Max is hallucinating a lot of this,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean, this was a long con. Like, I mean, Harlan started working for Max 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago.
Yeah.
So I think that, and maybe that would be a little bit more likely, I'm not sure, that
Mm-hmm.
because Max was already a target of theirs 2 years ago, which is at least a
Mm-hmm.
year and change before B.O.B. died, it makes sense then, maybe.
Yeah, but just because Nikki then shows up in the video as well, and if she was also a victim of Videodrome and seems to have the ability to transport through televisions and videos as well.
She does a lot through television
Yeah.
because then just zooms up on her mouth
Yeah.
and the TV starts kind of moaning and moving a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's like pulsating. It's got like veins and
Yeah.
things.
Oh
Yeah.
boy. He
Feeling up that monster TV.
yeah, he was. And I think he has sex with that TV.
I think he has sex with the TV too. I don't know how that works, but
Yeah.
it apparently works.
No, thank you. Um so he's like, "Okay, that was weird. I'm gonna take this back to Bianca." Um who you learn knows more about Videodrome than she's leading on as well.
Hmm.
She reveals that, just like how her father died, your exposure to Videodrome is giving you tumors. That's what's causing the
Hmm.
hallucinations. So, rightfully so, he's pissed. Um, and again, when he's like, let me talk to Brian already, she's like, yeah, he's in the next room. Being all coy and shit about it.
Yeah, that's such a weird reveal.
Yeah. So he learns that Brian didn't die in this video, or
Hmm.
maybe he did, who knows, but Brian's been dead for a long time. And you've got this whole room of just nothing but cassette tapes of just different things that sounds like a lot of work.
Oh my gosh, like years of work.
Yeah. Do you imagine whoever like in the Oblivion family, whoever like inherits all of that and
Hmm.
goes and like mails it into like digitized or whatever, like drops it off at the Rite Aid, you know.
This is about the time in the movie when I realized I had no idea what was going on.
She explains to him also how Brian Oblivion created Videodrome, him and some others, and he thought he would use it for like some like benevolent purpose, and I don't know what that
Hmm.
purpose would be.
Me either.
I don't know either. Like, and maybe if they were like, oh no, if we just find some joyful programming somehow and put it through the
Hmm.
Videodrome feed or something, maybe that would do it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
why the dark, sinister, like
speculating at this point,
eating,
but
killing? Yeah.
um some nefarious other people involved killed Bob instead. So,
Hmm.
and Bianca thinks that they're after her as well.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
she's not wrong.
she's not wrong. Um, Max is like, maybe. I'm not going to fully believe you just yet. I'm
Yeah.
going to get a second opinion. I'm going to go see my boy Harlem.
Oh no.
And he's like, are you seeing any weird shit, Harlan? What's going on with your life lately? And Harlan's
Yeah.
like, nothing. I'm good. What are you talking about? I ain't seeing shit.
Yeah.
So, fucking Harlan. So again, that night he's back at his apartment. He's at home watching this new tape from Bob, saying how I guess his idea of why he thought this would be a good thing is he's talking about how high doses of Videodrome, yes, create these like growths, these
Hmm.
tumors essentially, but these like extra growths on your brain, and that somehow instead of killing us, it would like let us evolve. So then
Yeah.
humans would be able to, experience all sorts of realities. To which I'm also
Hmm.
just still kind of like, why? Like, why would that be a benefit to anybody?
Yeah, why do we need that? Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, he pretty much is explaining that although like there's some sort of growth or tumor, they're not actually harmful. They're just allowing you to experience maybe a new way of being conscious, if that makes sense. So that
Yeah.
didn't super make sense to me, or like why, like anytime there's it reminds me of From Beyond. Like why do we need to go to other dimensions and realms to like feel alive?
Right.
It sounds like a therapy problem.
So he pulls out that gun. Remember that gun he's got?
Yeah.
Um, and then is scratching
Ugh.
this part of his stomach, which opens up to this basically just gross ass cavity in his
Hmm.
like not quite chest, not quite, yeah. And is it sternum right there?
It's like his abdominal VCR.
Yeah, right, right, right. And
Yeah.
he just puts the gun inside it and then pulls his hand out. Nothing, so he lost the
Yeah.
gun in there somehow.
It's like, why? Why would you? A gun? You shouldn't have even been using that to scratch your tummy. Dangerous. Like he could have tried sticking anything else in there. Wouldn't you start with maybe an apple, like something that you would put in your stomach?
Your mom was a nurse for a long time. I'm sure she would tell you probably like some of the wilder shit people have put inside themselves.
Oh yeah.
Or
Yeah.
stories of like x-rays and like, oh geez, found
Yeah.
found a lot up there.
People stick all sorts of things in themselves, and it is
Yeah.
wild. Especially when they make things for that. They make things specifically for you being curious about putting different shapes into yourself. And still, people are like, but what if? What if I found something in my kitchen to just throw in there?
Yeah. So the gun's somewhere inside him, I
You
think, at
can't
some
get it
point.
back.
Yeah. Um, he also gets a call from a dude named Barry Convex, which is also a cool name.
Yeah, a
Um,
lot of cool names.
he wants to talk Videodrome. He says, I'm going to call you a car. It's downstairs.
Mhm.
Why don't you come over and we'll talk?
Yeah. Love an
So
80s limousine.
love that. Yeah. He has a welcome video. He's sitting in the back of this limousine on his way. Um, and it's from Barry, right? And this is the first we actually see of him.
Yeah.
Um, and he admits my company, Spectacular Optical,
Hmm.
created Videodrome. So I'm your guy to talk to. He goes and gets dropped off at Spectacular Optical, which is, just some
An eyewear, like an
basic
eyeglass
ass.
store.
Yeah. And he was saying, like, I think he was like, yeah, we sell like glasses and also like military explosives or something.
Yeah.
They do a number of
Yeah.
different things. But so he goes and it's in this glasses store, right?
Yeah.
Um is that what you call them? I guess it's like an optical center, whatever.
Sure.
So, but he's like, let me show you the good shit in the back. So they go into the back. And he shows him this like helmet that you put on your head that also records your hallucinations. And he's like, hey
Yeah.
man, you want to do me a solid and
We just met.
you want to put this bad boy on?
No. Would you let a man that you just met that said he created something that has been giving you hallucinations and possibly made you lodge a gun into your body, would you put on a little helmet that covers your whole ass head?
And the brain tumors.
Yeah. No, thank
No,
you.
probably wouldn't. I can definitely see the desperation though, because Barry's like, to be honest, every test subject is dead or went real crazy. And
Yeah.
you kind of seem to be doing okay. Um,
Yeah. He's like, we need to know more about you.
can we study up on you a little bit? Because
Yeah.
yeah, the fact that you're not super dead by now is great for us.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like those VR headsets. I don't like the idea
Mm,
of like
mm-mm.
not being able to just see my surroundings, my real surroundings at any
I don't
given
want to
time.
lose I don't want to lose several senses like in real life
Nah.
for the sake of VR. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah. I think the only time I would ever consider it is remember that game Until Dawn?
Hmm.
They made a VR um offshoot of it, but
Oh,
it's
that's
not the
fun.
game in VR. It's you're on like a rickety, like spooky roller coaster.
Oh, no.
And it has like,
That's a no.
oh, yeah, maybe not a no for you.
Mm-mm.
So, yes, Max is like, sure, I'll put it on. I got you. You seem nice enough. Barry's also
Yeah.
explaining the how basically the Videodrome works, at least a little bit, where exposure to naughty things um opens up certain receptors that make you susceptible to Videodrome just getting its little wires or little fingers in you,
Hmm.
right? Um, he puts on this machine. Barry's like, "All right, man. Well, I don't really want to see any fucked up shit myself, or really
Yeah.
care about it. I'm not here to share your
That's
your
not
shit
my
with you.
role.
So put this on your head. You got it from here. Think of some fucked up shit, and I'll come back for you. Okay?
Yeah,
You
I
do
don't like
you. I'll be
that.
back. I'm gonna go get lunch. I'll be
Yeah.
at the Chipotle." So it gets a little weird
Oh
because
yeah.
he sees Nikki, right?
Hmm.
And she's like, "Hey, what's up? Welcome to Videodrome.
Yeah.
Hey, take this whip. Let's get started."
Yeah, she hands him that whip and then she immediately becomes a TV again.
Well, she becomes a TV. Well, and you see him like whipping back in this red room, right? And he's
And he's
he's
into it.
he's into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Increasingly so as he goes. He gets a little aggressive at the end, but he's really, really trying it.
Hmm.
Um, we
His
learned
facial
what he's
expressions are super hot. I'm not gonna lie. I've
you th
good acting on him.
you think that he's whipping Nikki, but then it zooms
Hmm.
out and you find that he's whipping a TV, and on the TV screen is Masha, who's tied up.
Hmm.
Um,
Do we think that that means that Masha is dead and is also a victim of the Videodrome because we don't see her the rest of the film. Like
right?
after this last scene with her where she's presumed dead.
I think probably maybe everything after the first meeting with her, probably.
Hmm.
Um,
When he asked her to look into it.
yeah. So he wakes up on his pull-out couch. He's like, "Oh shit,
Mm.
that's a strange dream." Turns over and then finds Masha's dead body in bed with him.
Oof.
Um, doesn't call 911. Really? There's,
Nope.
only, a couple reasons why you'd call 911. That's one of them.
I mean, yes, but if you woke up and accidentally murdered someone, like you'd be like, oh shit, if I call 911, I am under arrest and I probably did do this.
That's
So
true.
it depends on your conscience
Yeah. He calls Harlan,
of all
who come
people.
who comes over, and he's like, "Hey Harlan, I need you to bring your cameras and your equipment. I need you to take some photos. Come over here right now." So he does, and fucking Max doesn't even want to go back into that room or that area where
Mm-mm.
his bed is. And he's like, just go in there, take a picture, and tell me what the fuck you're seeing over there.
Yeah,
Harlan goes over.
what is his intention behind that? It's just to see if Harlan sees the same thing as him?
Right.
Okay.
So, but Harlan does not. He's like,
Yeah.
bro, what am I doing here, man? It's like fucking, it's outside of office hours. You're
Yeah.
not telling me what's going on. What the fuck, dude?
Your bed looks normal.
Yeah, Max is fucking losing it. He's like, we need to go to the lab right now. We need to watch some more Videodrome. Did you get tapes from last night?
Yeah.
Tell me, tell me. Um, so Harlan's like, bro, I'm already here. You're not telling me anything, but fine, I'll meet you in an hour at the lab, so they go.
Hmm.
Um, but however, I think this is when we get our twist.
Yeah.
Um, so he goes to the lab and he's like, where's the tape of Videodrome? Like, where's the recording of it? And Harlan's like, yeah, no, there wasn't a live feed of Videodrome last night. And Max is like, well, what the fuck, And then Harlan's like, well, actually, since we're here and since the dam's busted loose a little bit, um, there was never any live feeds of Videodrome. These are all pre-recorded tapes that I've just been showing you.
Yeah. Just
Whoops.
feeding this to you. Do you feel like it has an addictive property to it as well?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's like, let me bring in my best buddy to explain this a little better. Opens the door and it's Barry.
Hmm.
So
But it's a fun little twist and reveal, but
a little
also
bit.
it is a little bit confusing.
So it's a 2-year con, essentially.
Hmm.
The idea is to infiltrate this TV station
Hmm.
and show Videodrome 24/7
Hmm.
from this because they're like, it's funny, even Barry's like, yeah, the challenge to make this work is that it's only like the most filthy fucking snuff films and terrible stuff. Nobody really wants to watch that. So, but
Yeah.
we found you, man, and you're a greedy little pervert. We like you. And you've already created kind of the basis for it. So
Like
that's why you were our guy.
what is the what is the end game here of showing Videodrome on the TV to the general public? Because all they essentially do is turn Max into a human VCR that they can control. Is that the idea? So they can like control people?
Well, and this is where I wasn't entirely certain. I'm sure a lot of people are like, Kyle, obviously it's
There's
this and this.
theories. Yeah.
But it's, Harlan talks about, well, the world's getting real tough and we're getting real soft.
Hmm.
So there's that aspect of it. I was like, is the plan then to create an army of mind-controlled, violent people for
Maybe.
for what?
For what purpose? Yeah.
Right? Unless it's also used to like, I don't know, like they say how they also um make like weapons of war too, so it's like
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's like kind of like part of it, like their new thing,
That's
some mind
true.
control army situation. The other
Okay.
thing is if it inevitably like kills them too with these brain tumors, it's like I thought like is this to like root out perverts? Is this some sort of like eugenics situation where
Mm-hmm.
they're like we're going to create this outlet for the most depraved shit to attract the most depraved people who want to watch it and then give them all tumors and kill them and just to root out like people that
Oh,
have that disposition or that lust. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
couldn't
yeah. That's not the worst idea. But yeah, I like all of those things could be valid options. I don't think they really clarify what their agenda is.
Barry says we analyze your hallucinations, by the way. Real good. Me me likey.
Yeah.
Um and we think you're ready for the next step. Remember that stomach wound he had?
Oh man,
So,
yeah.
well, yeah, Barry pulls out a V8 or VHS and just sticks it right in him. And then that is what really sends him over in terms of being like fully like not like fully controlled. As you can tell, he's still like
Mm-hmm.
battling it, but like that's when then you start like hearing like all the
Mm-hmm.
messaging and shit from Barry, like telling him like, we want to take over this channel. You're going to give it to us. You're going to kill all your business partners.
And he finds that gun.
And then he reaches back in, right, and finds
Uh-huh.
this gun. This is also a great effect too, watching
Oh
that
yeah,
gun
it's
just
so
get
fun.
fused with his hand with like all the like the tubes and wires and shit. Like, oh, it
You know what
looks
it
really good.
reminds me of? And it's only like this came after this, but I saw it first, is the kill in A Nightmare on Elm Street. I think it's the Dream Child where he's on the motorcycle
Yeah.
and like the piece like the parts of the motorcycle are like fusing into his body.
Hmm.
It reminds me of that, and I really, really enjoy that kill. But this, yeah, seeing those like I don't know what to call them, wires, tubes going like
Sure.
into his hand and fusing it together is super creepy and gross.
Cables.
Yeah.
Um, so he's under that mind control currently at that point because he goes
Hmm.
right upstairs from the lab to the main executive's offices where
Hmm.
Moses and Rafe are, or Rafey, are meeting. Just pulls the gun out and
Pat
just
pat.
start pat
Yeah.
pat pat pat, just starts shooting them all dead.
Damn.
Um, Real delayed response from everybody outside of that office because those gunshots
There's
are real
literal
fucking loud.
gunshots. Yeah.
And he's able to get out so easily. Everybody just
Yeah.
like
His
Bridie comes up and
assistant
just walks
helps
him
him
out.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, "Are you okay? What's going on? Oh my gosh. Are you hurt? Let me see." And he's just like, "Nope, nope, nope." And then you think you put two and two together and be like,
Did
hold
you
on.
kill
There are
them?
only three people in this room and you're the only one alive and the rest of them will have
Hmm.
gunshot wounds."
She must
But
be
no,
paid well.
he astonishingly easily makes his way out just fine. And he's off to find Bianca because that's the next person he is being told to
Hmm.
kill. Um, he goes back to that shelter, goes up to her office. She's like, I fucking knew it. And I knew it was going to be you, motherfucker. I knew you were going to be the one that was going to come and try and fucking kill me.
Hmm.
You can't control shit, dude. They are fully rooted in your brain. And
Hmm.
that just like that gun is just
Ugh.
disgustingly just rooted into your fucking arm. Um,
Slimy ass hand.
yeah, she's like, they turned you into an assassin. They program you, they control you now. He pulls out his handgun that looks way, way, way worse,
Yeah.
increasingly
I like
so,
that you called it a handgun
because it
because it
is,
works
right?
two ways. Yeah. That's
Thank
great.
you. So she ducks away and is able to like escape him for like a little bit. Not that I felt
Hmm.
like he was like really trying. Like she wasn't like running or anything. She was just kind of like
Yeah.
looking at him walking away. And then has a cassette tape that I guess she she said she stole from Videodrome, that she was
Hmm.
somehow, she didn't explain how or why, but she puts this on the TV, or one of the shelter cubicle TVs, and basically lets him know that they killed Nikki and
Hmm.
they've been using her image to essentially, control him, right? To influence
Hmm.
him. Um, Again, this idea, you know what it reminds me of is some of those fucking Star Wars movies. Like everybody seems to like that Rogue One movie, but the thing that fucking
I've
throws, have you
never
seen
seen
this
it.
one?
Mm-mm.
The thing that fucking throws me off is the guy that plays Grand Moff Tarkin. He he died a long time ago, but they
Oh,
have
yes, yes.
this fake version of him in this movie.
Although I have not seen the movie, I know that to be the case. I remember reading about that because that was a really odd thing, an odd choice.
Super odd. And then like it would be one thing if maybe it was just like him from the back in a silhouette and like a
Yeah.
similar voice actor like says something and it's like, oh
Yeah.
wow, fuck, it's cool, it's him. But they like kept showing him over and over. And then even
Hmm.
had like a digital like
He's like part of the
uh
movie, right?
yeah, and then also
Yeah.
had this like digital like Princess Leia at the end too, like
Hmm.
super de-aged and it looks upsetting and weird. And I mean, even I think after Carrie Fisher died, like they repurposed other scenes and
Hmm.
whatever. Or, gosh, you just watched Furious 7 not too long ago, right? And they just like superimpose, like at
Uh,
least like I don't know,
yeah.
it's
It was quick.
yeah, it's just so upsetting. And
Yeah.
and thinking how they use this for like horror and like to manipulate somebody in this movie,
Hmm.
it's again, like I think just the evergreen kind of fears of this movie. I think that's also part of it too. It's just like, using your likeness after death for like gain. You know what I mean? Whether it's like
Yeah.
financial gain or whether it's, I guess in this case, whatever they're trying to do with this fucking guy, we still haven't completely figured it out. But
Going back to my earlier question then for Nikki, is she then like is she part of this Videodrome universe where she almost has a consciousness within these tapes? Or is it just like some sort of weird magic that they're using to use her likeness? That's what I'm confused by. Like, does she have any agency?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
So he shoots the TV,
Hmm.
TV shoots back.
And
Um,
that TV gun looks like a dick.
Definitely look like it's
100%. It looked
yeah,
like a dick. This isn't just a me being me comment that looked like a dick.
it had like a head.
It had a head. Yes. Like,
Yeah.
come on. They knew what they were doing.
So when he shoots both or the TV shoots at him, they both have mirrored wounds. And then even the
Hmm.
screen of the TV is like a chest with nipples on it and
Yeah.
little gunshot wounds on it. And
Hmm.
Bianca's like, fuck, you've done it. You're on to the next step. You and the TV have become one. Like the
Hmm.
TV's reality is now flesh. Your flesh is
Hmm.
now, I don't know, TV.
Hmm.
Um, he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And she said, "And what does she say? Um, you are now the video word made flesh, and now you know what you got to do. You got to go kill everybody and kill yourself."
Yeah. Does she say he has to kill himself too?
Maybe not yet.
Okay.
It's yeah, maybe it's not until later where Debbie Harry tells him.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I think that's not till later. It's more like stop Videodrome before you do anything else.
right.
Yeah.
So he leaves and goes and stakes out that optical store. Um, sees on a couple TVs, or at least the one TV, that there's a manhunt out for him. I'm glad somebody put together like, maybe this guy's a suspect. We let him just walk
Yeah,
out so easily, but
they figured it out. The assistant was probably like, fuck.
yeah. Like
Whoopsie daisy.
he threatened me. He said,
Yeah, he
something,
like was
something.
pointing a gun at me and ran out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Um, so he's across the street from this place and sees Harlan go inside. And he's like, I'm gonna go see what this little fuck's up
Oh
to.
yeah. Mad at
Mm.
him.
He just kind of casually goes through the store and then walks into the back room, where Harlan is packing up that hallucination helmet analysis
Yeah.
machine thing. Harlan's pretty pleased with them. He's like, "Yeah, dude, Videodrome's making you do some good stuff, man. Glad you're carrying it all out,
Yeah.
seeing it all through. Did you kill Bianca yet?" He takes this tape, right? That I
Uh,
guess was going to be someone else he was going to kill, maybe. I'm not sure. Some
yeah.
other directions for him. Um, puts his puts his whole fucking arm in
Yeah.
with
And the
this
tape
tape.
is like not a regular tape. This one's the one that's like very fleshy
Yeah.
looking. Like it's not black with like the white little, I don't know what you want to call those little turny
Little
wheel
like
things.
winder things,
Yeah, little winder things. This one is like very fleshy and gross and like mutated looking.
He's able to get himself free, right? By pulling himself
Yeah.
out of this stomach. But like then it's I didn't know it was like an explosive at first, but he's like pulls out like this like bloody stump of like what his hand used to be, and then it's got
Oh,
this
I did not know what I
explosive.
was looking at. I was like, was that like a robot hand?
Yeah, it's an explosive
But
because I mean he
okay.
blows up. Um, so very promptly he backs up, very freaked out, and this was a pretty silly shot watching it
Yeah.
explode.
Yeah,
Um,
he blew up fully.
and then conveniently also blows a hole in the back wall of the store where
Of course.
again he can just very easily just walk right out and just go on his way.
Yep.
Goodbye,
Next.
Harlan. You're dead. Before Harlan blows up, though, he does provide some good information that Barry is at like a trade show, for for glasses,
For the spring line.
for the spring line. Yep. And he's like, all right, I'll go check that out, which he does. And this seems like a nice trade show, like with
Oh
dinner and
yeah.
everything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Very fancy.
Barry's on stage doing his thing, selling his pitch. Um, Max doesn't really wait a whole long, a whole lot
Yeah.
of time because he just gets up, walks on stage. By the time Barry's like realizing what the fuck's going on,
Hmm.
he's shot dead.
Good.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Um, but not only just shot dead,
Oh, it's so good.
it's so good. Like he just starts like cracking open like an egg, like his face just skulls and bones just breaking apart and just having just fucking guts and shit just
It's
fucking
super fun. And
just crawl out of outside of him. It looks very good.
so it looks like where he was hit by bullets, that the bullets are almost like foaming up
Yeah.
and like making him like burst open where
Yeah.
they landed, which is really fun. Yeah, it's a good death. Might be my
So,
favorite.
yeah,
I think it is.
Barry's dead. And again, you know, very easily just walks out.
Yeah.
Like there's no security here,
No one's catching this man. No.
Yeah, and he's able to go to a harbor, like this like decommissioned harbor with dilapidated like rusty ass boats and shit outside of the
Hmm.
city. He's able to get through the fencing and holes up inside this rusty ass old boat, which looks like some
Hmm.
people were squatting.
For sure.
Um, and may have electricity and a working TV, but I'm thinking he's hallucinating this.
I think it's a hallucination for sure.
Yeah. Um, Max, I don't know how um quickly and how comfortably he sits on that ratty ass mattress.
Oh,
Yeah.
gross.
I mean, like
I don't
I'll
care.
stand. I'm good.
I don't care if there's a gun that has turned into your hand or you have a like I mean really if you have an open gaping wound in your abdomen, probably best not to sit on a dirty filthy mattress.
Yeah, it's like that mattress that they fucking make that poor woman lie on in Cabin Fever out in the
In the
shed.
barn, yes.
Yeah.
That is exactly what it looks like.
Oh my gosh. Actually, maybe a little cleaner.
Yeah.
But there is a TV, where he's hallucinating, there's a TV, and then Nikki comes on the screen
Mhm.
and she's like, "Hey, I've been a Videodrome for a minute and I've learned a lot." And this is where like I think like maybe there is some sort of like active consciousness. I'm not sure, like kind of what you were talking about. Maybe.
Yeah.
Or again, his
Could just be
hallucination, right?
them. Yeah.
She says, your antics have certainly hurt Videodrome quite a bit, but it's not
Mhm.
over. They'll recover. Now, one thing you really need to do to end it, it's got to end your flesh and
Mhm.
yourself. I'll show you how. And then puts on TV um, this feed of Max,
Mhm.
who I forget exactly what he says.
Long
Um,
live the new flesh.
Long live the new flesh. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
It's
then,
very like Hellraiser.
yeah. And then shoots himself in the head on TV.
Mhm.
He sees this, does the same. As soon as he says, "Long live the flesh," puts the gun to his head, hear the gunshot, screen to black. Movie's over.
So do we think that he's actually dead or that like is that all like Videodrome was like, okay, we're obviously not doing a good job of controlling him. So we need to figure out a way to eliminate him. Let's tell him to kill himself. Or do we actually think when he shot himself and ended his physical body that now this is where I get this like consciousness through the TV idea. I'm like,
Hmm.
is that what happened? Is that what made him the new flesh? Like now he's part of the TV.
I don't know. I'd like to hope for the happy ending, even though I don't really
Is
understand
that
like
a happy
how.
ending?
Well, I mean, if he like saves the day, that's kind of,
Mm,
but yeah, I don't know. And again, or is it this guy who, clearly, um, even though he says it's for business, like, if he is really into watching like violent, perverted
hmm
shit, then I don't know from an outsider's perspective, is it like just someone who watched way too much and then just went on a killing spree?
mm,
You know what I mean? So, and I think
hmm
that's what like how that movie's still trying to kind of balance that argument. It's kind of like, does one, cause the other? Is there that
Yeah,
causation, correlation, whatever? Um, so yeah, I'm not sure. He's dead. And that's the end
yeah,
of the movie.
yeah.
I mean, I think personally, I think we did a pretty good job considering we both only watched this movie once.
I agree. And as much as I'd like to say I would watch it again to figure out what the fuck is going on,
Uh-huh.
it would take a while for me to rewatch it. Like I would need to like I need to marinate with it for a little bit and then maybe rewatch it or maybe even read a couple articles more now that I've watched it, we've talked through it and then
Yeah.
rewatch it again. But I hate to watch like videos or read articles that are like the meaning of and like go over the metaphors and everything with you. I'm like, if I didn't catch it, I didn't catch it. And that's okay. I still enjoyed watching the movie.
Before we get into all of that, I'd love to hear some taglines.
Okay. This movie has 6 taglines.
Okay.
You ready?
Ready.
So we've, of course, got a name drop tagline from David Cronenberg, creator of Scanners.
Okay. I feel
I
like
don't
that
love
shouldn't
those.
count as a tagline. You know what I mean?
They do though. They put them on movie posters in place of taglines.
Okay.
Um, it counts. I think it counts. A shocking new vision could work for anything.
Yeah.
A vision of enormous physical impact.
I don't get it, but I like sure.
Sure. A terrifying new weapon.
Sure. Okay. Better. Yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a longer one. First, it controlled her mind. Then it destroyed her body. Long live the new flesh.
So are they talking about Nikki?
I'm assuming they're talking about Nikki, but I feel like it should say he or his instead of her,
Hmm.
considering our main character is male.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. No, thank you on that.
I like this one the best, I think. First, it controls your mind, then it controls your body.
I like it because it not only is gender neutral, it's great,
Yes.
but also it includes in the action,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting video dromed now. Okay. All right. I've got
Yeah.
87 minutes. Let's see what's going on. So, okay, sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
I
best
know
one.
I feel like if you remade this movie in 2025,
Hmm.
you'd get more of like seeing Videodrome like scaled to your own TV. So you're actually like watching whatever is the person is watching, the character's watching.
Hmm.
Which they do a little bit of, but not a lot. And that's your taglines.
Dang. Okay. Boo scores. You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Sure. Um, I definitely will want to watch this movie again a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think my boo score will continue going up in increments when I watch it. Um, like I said, I thought all the performances were really good. I thought that the body horror effects were really good. I thought
Mm-hmm.
even like the goofy shit with the TV and the screens popping out and stuff like that, I still liked it. I still thought it was
Yeah.
fun. Um, I'm just thinking now of like all the like TV related, I don't know. What's that one? Shocker, where he starts like jumping between all
Yeah.
the TVs in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But and then of course Friday the 13th part three, where he pops
Mm-hmm.
out of the TV like that, or kind of becomes the TV.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is still really good. It's not maybe not yet my favorite Cronenberg movie, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's brisk as hell. I was gonna say I could easily like rewatch this right now. It's only like 85 minutes. I love that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. It's
Um,
short.
and again, I think it has, messages that like I thought were like, how's this gonna, will this translate or will this be like absorbed as well? I mean, at least I remember like, I mean, we were born in the mid late 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have some familiarity with like old forms of media. The TV didn't exist that long before we were born, maybe a couple
Mm-hmm.
decades, if that. But like, it's like I wonder, like, like in a few years from now, like your son watching this, is he going to be like, wait, what is he doing? How are they like? What is
Yeah.
this? A TV station? What is this now? Like,
Mm-hmm.
even that, like, it feels like a
Yeah,
relic,
that's true.
you
Like,
know?
would that part of it translate? And it's a huge part of it. That's
Right?
a good point.
But I certainly hope so. I think this movie is a lot of fun. I really don't have a lot of notes. Sure, there's some things look a little goofy, but also, I don't know, I'll never knock anything for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm gonna go with 3.5 for now.
Oh, strong boost score.
Yeah. How about you?
So if you were at a hotel flipping through the channels and Videodrome was on, would you leave the channel on?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, added that in. Okay. For me, I will admit I felt really confused watching a lot of this movie. I was enjoying what was happening in front of me on the screen, but the plot, I could not understand. And usually that would be like a huge, like, knock for me. Like, I'd be like, oof, no. But I still really enjoyed the film. Thematically, I think it holds up. I think your call out on whether or not the technology, the cable television station, all of those things would make sense to a younger audience is a really good call out. Um, all the performances are great though. And I like that there's like weird sexy moments like in the earlier parts of the movies of the movie. I think those scenes are fun between Nikki and Max. I think they have really good chemistry, the two actors. So that's nice to see too. Um, but because I'm going to have to rewatch this in order to really figure out how I feel about it, because I did not understand the plot, I was teetering between a two and a two and a half based off of how our conversation would go. But I think that my boo score will grow watching it again. So I'll give it a two and a half.
I was thinking a movie like this, I had a feeling it was going to be kind of similar to like Eraserhead,
Mm.
where I would come out a little more in
Hmm.
support and you'd be a little more like, like
But totally
half of the shit
different
is not making
vibe.
sense.
Totally different vibe because when I was watching this one, like I said, I really enjoyed watching it and I was like trying to actively figure out what was going on and was excited by it. So I was like, "Ooh, I want to know what's going to happen next and how this is going to play out." Whereas with Eraserhead, I was not, I didn't care enough to know what was going to happen next or invest myself in any of the characters. I know that's a hot take, but I didn't enjoy my watch of that movie. And again, I've said this before, I probably wouldn't watch it again unless somebody was like, oh, let's sit down and watch this movie together, then fine. Whereas Videodrome, I would watch on my own. And if it was in a hotel, I would leave it on and I would watch it again. So I would want to figure out this movie a little bit more and explore it, whereas Eraserhead, I do not. So
Yeah,
that's those are my differences there.
love that. Anything else you want to say on Videodrome before we wrap up? Before we turn the station, turn the channel, whatever.
I don't have anything that I would like to say left on it, but if anyone is like a super fan of this movie, has seen it a million times, has some opinions on some of the meanings or maybe plot that we missed or misunderstood, like did Nikki ever even exist in this film or was she always part of Videodrome? Things like that. I would love to hear what y'all think and, message it to us, email it to us, comment.
Yeah,
I want to know.
yeah, just put
That's it.
on a pre-record. Only if it's
A
on a pre-recorded
pre-recorded
cassette tape.
VHS and send it to
Yeah,
us in the mail.
yeah,
I'll give you a PO box.
yeah. Okay, we did it. All right. All right. Take care, everybody. I don't have any wise words to leave you with. Um, just don't don't have your lover pierce your ears. Um,
Do it at a piercing studio.
go to a place they've got it's more hygienic.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There's professionals for that.
Yeah.
There are so many other fun and safer things that you can do instead
Yeah.
of piercing each other's ears.
Yeah, like he didn't even like put that shit like over a stove
I
before.
didn't see any rubbing alcohol of any kind. I mean, rubbing alcohol is not the sexiest, admittedly,
Right? I
but
mean,
yeah.
of all the alcohols, rubbing alcohol does sounds the sexiest.
You know what? I'll give you that one. That was good.
All right, everybody. Take care. Three, two, one, ghost.
Thanks for listening to our episode on Videodrome. If you enjoyed this episode, you can subscribe to our podcast and leave us a killer review on whichever platform you choose to listen. You can find us on Instagram at 321GhostPod and give us a follow. We would love to hear from you in the comments. You can shoot an email to 321ghostpod@gmail.com to share any thoughts, questions, or recommend a movie you'd like to hear us cover. Next week, we're discussing one of our favorites of 2024, Late Night with the Devil. Thanks again for listening, and remember, we won't judge you for your bedroom activities, as long as it's consensual. Just don't whip your TV. 3, 2, 1, ghost.